guess I'll start, with a burning question of my own. How many cigarettes did Bill Box smoke? The smoke is incredible in black and white.
Yeah, but the boys don't do very many takes, so what you see smoking was on the film was all he smoked, probably. I mean, they rarely did more than 2 takes. I mean, often if the shot was kind of, removing shot or something, I would ask for a second take, that's how it happened.
When this screenplay came your way, I mean, you've worked with them multiple times before. What was it about this one that perhaps sold it very much special for you guys when you read it first?
It is bleak. I love their sort of sense of reality and comedy, darkness and I love the way they mix it up.
And for you, James, what were your memories of reading this script for the first time?
Well, I loved the script, but also the idea of doing black and white was also kind of a fun film noir kind of thing.
Yeah, it's funny though, isn't it? Because the man who wasn't there, when you read the script, it kind of came alive quite quickly. But when we read the script for Fargo, which was like only the 3rd film I'd done with Collins, it was like, really, is this going to work? Because the main character was so objectionable.
It was so horrible, but then when they cast Bill Macy in it, he was so pathetic that he was sorry for
him.
But this one ran easier on the page.
In comparison, how do you think of this character? Is he a bad guy or is he pathetic?
I see a lot of myself in him. We're all searching for answers, especially right now. How many people believe in UFOs, including people in high office?
We call them UFOs here.
Yeah, UFOs. I mean, it's ridiculous. Yeah, I love that.
So was black and white interesting for you? Was it something that sort of appealed to you to try to make a film this way?
It was a real challenge because I didn't really want to shoot, none of us wanted to shoot a film that was kind of like a traditional black and white movie. I wanted it to be quite sort of smooth and not full of grain and stuff, with lots of tones. And so it was actually lucky really because we figured out the best version. I say we, it was James and Beverly Wood at the Lux Labs at the time. The 3 of us were kind of working out how to get a black and white we really liked, and we worked out to shoot it on a colour stock and then print it on a title stock. It was a high contrast title stock, and the colour stock was a low contrast colour.
That was answer prints, the release
right,
prints.
The release prints, then we had to find another way, but we went for the answer prints off the original name that way. So, but then we found that Joel said one day, he said, well, we have to shoot it in colour anyway because the financiers in Europe demand a colour version. So when we came to do it with DVDs or VHSs back then, this is 25 bloody years ago. VHS. We did a very, very muted colour version that I don't think anybody ever saw. But the one thing that did happen that was really disturbing, especially to Joel, was that he got a call one day from a film critic who asked why in Chicago they watched the film and why Reel 3 was in colour but the rest was in black and white.
It's because they were doing some tests in the lab and they just ran it through and used color stock. And they're bad that they shipped one of those reels out.
I think John pretended it was artistic intent. They're just like winding people up.
If it were anybody else, they would know it was a mistake right away, but here they thought, oh wow, they're trying to tell us something. It's polarized.
Find the meaning in the mistake. Are the Coens the type of directors that give you references at all when you're talking about this film? Like they bring in film noir or other black and white films or any crime films like this?
Not because of the visuals, but we talked about it obviously, but I never really talked about, I mean the films I've done with them, I never really talked about lighting much, but they talked about one film which was Shadow of Doubt, the Theatrical, right? With I forgot the actor's name now. God. But it was set in Santa Cruz or something, in like a mid-Californian town, and they wanted the kind of feel of it. It was nothing to do with the imagery. It was to do with the location and that kind of feeling of this kind of dusty town and that kind of melancholy feel of the film. So it wasn't about lighting or composition or anything. It was just about a feel of it.
But let's face it, you guys.
Joseph Cotton's in it, sorry.
You guys don't do much talking anyway. I
No,
mean,
no.
they came over for dinner one night and they were sitting at a table and Joel said, you know, we should, Roger said, but then, and Eve said, yeah.
You're really not telling that story. It is true.
It is true. It's the only way to explain your lack
I've talked more now than I've talked for years, actually. I might as well stop now.
James, you haven't learned to translate their conversations after all these years?
Not that kind of conversation. I need a little bit more.
You said that that your favorite shot of the sequence in this film is when Ed is talking about how he met Doris, and then he goes and murders Big Dave, and then comes back and keeps the story going. Why is that your favorite?
I was talking about, I wrote a book called Reflections, right, which when I was thinking about the scene, because I've always thought that's the most impressive scene I've ever been part of, I thought, anyway. And then I realised that we shot shots of Ed Crane coming back from the after the murder, before he draws up at the house, and I realised they'd cut them out, so I started to get depressed, actually. They were quite good shots. No, I think just the way it works with the music and the whole flow and the kind of the throwaway tension in it, and then the matter-of-fact nature of the killing. And I just find that really, really interesting, how they can tread that fine line. But they do it with, the films, the fine line between tragedy and comedy is just brilliant, isn't it? I mean, I don't think there's any other filmmaker that does it quite like they do.
Yeah, I think it says a lot about the character that he can, commit a crime and then come back and sort of like pick up where he left off.
Yeah.
James, how would you describe your relationship with Roger over the years? What's creative relationship?
I really should have led with that, but yeah.
Where's the couch?
We've been together so long, actually, we do finish each other's sentences often. But at least we say the sentences. But anyway, but we just approach the film together, we read it, we talk about it, we decide what it is we need. I do a lot of dealing with the production and the visual effects, because they can also oftentimes want to shoot it one way and Roger would rather shoot it another way. So I negotiate a deal in between everyone. And I follow through the dailies and I look at the dailies every day because I know what Roger wants. And
it's the thing about this film, isn't it? The full digital, right?
Yeah.
So it's very much a chemical process. And James actually started in a lab. She worked at Duart in London, in New York. Duart, which was my favourite lab, and Coen Brothers lab. And we would always send negative to Duart. I mean, after James had left, and we were working together. But her experience then, in working with on the film in terms of the film stock and the processing and dealing with the lab and then the post. And then when digital came along, it was all that, and Oh Brother We're Out There. It was dealing with, cine-site and the negative being rock and rolled and the whole DI process. I mean, things, strangely, as digital came along, everything got more and more complicated. Unnecessarily so, but...
Do you have a favorite shot from this film in particular that you feel encompasses the themes that you feel is beautiful?
I don't know, I kind of like the scene where he's shaving your legs in a bathtub. it's just an odd scene, and I really like it.
I mean, that comes back around in the ending, I feel, right, with the shaving of the leg.
Yeah,
and
right.
everything. It's very interesting.
It's nice.
Hair is a big theme in this film.
It's kind of strange, isn't it? The fact his hair keeps growing in.
That's pretty bleak, right?
Have you done black and white in digital